good?
You good?
Where your sister?
We are at the world famous Hollywood Boulevard. Oh, hey, ladies, how y'all doing? Hey.
How about that? She's supposed to be here.
You think whatever killed Pops is out there? What did you see?
That's big.
It's in the cloud.
It's fast. I couldn't really see it.
We need the shot.
What shot?
The shot. The money shot. Undeniable, singular, the Oprah shot.
The Oprah shot? Can it swivel up? A little more?
I mean, you guys aren't gonna tell me what's going on?
Hell no.
There's something out here.
And you're the only person in the world that can get it on film.
That cloud, they moved a goddamn inch.
Did you see a UFO in that cloud?
We saw it.
Holy hell.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go!
It's big. They mad. They want attention.
It's above us.
I don't think they take you. Maybe don't look at it.
Here it comes. Don't look. Don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look. Don't look. Don't look, don't look. Let's go! Move! I'm trying to save you. My brother's out there.
Nope.
Shalom, 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 Yasha'Allah, all praises to the Most High, Bashim Mashiach Yahushai. Elder Zabach here. On the camera.
Rob Judah.
All right, on the camera. So, HOI to the Chariots Fly, HOI Los Angeles. And tonight, we're going to do a song that you never heard before. We're going to do one of our movie reviews, all right? We haven't done one in a while. What was the last one? Maybe Old?
Yeah, Old was the last one.
No, not Old.
Yeah, Old was the last one.
It was?
Yeah, Old was the last one.
But anyway, all right, Israel.
Because before Old, it was the ones with the superheroes. I can't think
God.
the Expendables. I can't remember the name of it.
So Israel, we coming at y'all with a movie review. Something we haven't done in a while. Of course, YouTube is playing with our channels, so it's hard to have a solid YouTube presence nowadays. Because every time we get a good fiery channel going, and we want to bring y'all more content, you know, they shut the channels down, you know. But we're gonna make it do what it do. All right, so this has been a much anticipated film. The movie Nope, right? Nope. I think Jordan Peele been listening to us at camp. He got that title from listening to us at camp.
He got that from
I'm just kidding. Right? God, nope, right? He got that from listening to me at camp, but so nobody don't get simple, not to get proud. Oh, Elder Zabach said he got the title from him, but you never know. You never know who's watching. The truth has a hell of a social media presence, so you never know who's watching, even though they shutting our videos off of YouTube. But either way, Jordan Peele is, if you study his films, like Get Out, like, what was the other one, Us, right? When you Did he do Us?
Yeah, he did Us.
He did Us too. Right?
Us,
Yeah.
Get Out.
Get Out. You know what I'm saying? He has a way of telling the truth, but he does it in an abstract way. I don't know if that's his way of kind of hiding it from Hollywood, but still putting the message in there because we all know what Get Out was all about. That was all about Negro organ harvesting. All right, and these Edomites, these white supremacists, basically kidnapping, killing our people, and taking their body parts. But you know, he has the way of doing it in the abstract. So, spoiler alert for those that have not seen the movie Nope. Watch the movie first, then come back and watch this review because there will be some spoilers throughout the review. Of course, like we always do, from my movie reviews, whether I be with Nala in New York, Times Square, 34th Street, whether I be with Rob Judah, here in LA, whether I be out with my family sometime, in Long Beach, you know, wherever I do a movie review, I always let y'all know, watch the film first because there's going to be some spoiler alerts. And most of the time, the movie is done from an impromptu. The movie review is done from an impromptu standpoint because we want it fresh in our mind. As soon as we come out the theater, do the review, do the commentary. But of course, there will be more insight added as we go along. And as I watch the movie again, there'll be scripture. We'll talk about it in camp. We'll talk about it in sit down, so on and so forth. So this is, you know, like we normally do, our tradition, a movie review commentary right off the top of the dome as soon as we came out the theater. We just came out the theater like, what, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
All right, so now, the first thing I want to point out, as always, well, this, Jordan Peele, he kind of opened up this one. This was fiery. He put a scripture. He opened up with a scripture. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 6. Let me just read that scripture real quick. All right. And like I said, we'll get more into this in as we review the movie throughout the rest of the summer and fall, in camps and sit downs and classes. But this is the scripture that Jordan Peele opened the movie. The opening scene is this scripture, Nahum chapter 3 verse 6, and it reads, "And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock." Now, out of this whole chapter, well, out of the whole Bible, Jordan Peele chose Nahum 3 and 6. Now, Nahum is the prophecy on Assyria and Nineveh, but it also can apply to today, because Nahum, the 3rd chapter, it starts out with woe to the bloody city. And just like Nineveh, Babylon, the ancient cities were bloody, America's a bloody city now today. So that's what you call duality or twofold scripture or prophecy. It can apply for that time, like Jeremiah was prophesying against ancient Babylon, but he also prophesied against future Babylon. So like Nahum prophesied against the bloody city back then, it can also apply to today, the bloody city, right? So the Most High said, look, he's going to cast abominable filth upon them. All right, he's going to make them a gazing stock, meaning when America's destroyed, just like it tell you in Revelation 18, all the nations going to look afar off, and they're going to say, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, in 1 hour such greatness and riches is come to naught. The Most High, in other words, he's going to make America a gazing stock also when he destroyed them, when he cast abominable filth upon them and destroyed them by way of the chariots, nuclear destruction, race wars, plagues, diseases, monkeypox. All right? So the Most High is letting you know, right, through Hollywood and through the directors and the producers, that the truth is being put out into this world. Why did Jordan Peele open this movie with that scripture, Nahum 3 and 6? That's the opening screen before the movie even, the opening scripture on the screen before the movie even starts. All right, so one of the things I noticed right away was the main character, Daniel, I always forget how to pronounce that.
Kaluuya, yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya, however you say his name. I always forget how to pronounce his name. This guy right here, right? Notice he plays a lot of Jake parts, but he's a Hamite, all right? But he's been in quite a few of Jordan Peele's movies and other movies playing so-called Judite parts or African-American parts. But notice the man, if you notice, the man's name was OJ.
OJ,
all right, Otis Jr. Now they was on a set in one of the opening scenes. They were on a movie set. They owned a ranch where they trained horses for positions in movies in Hollywood. They had to train and tame the horses and have the horses on set for different movies. So they were doing a movie or a commercial or whatever. And I noticed if you notice, all the set was Edomites. They was all white. And when he said his name was OJ, all the Edomites stopped and looked. Now that was symbolic, because if you go back to the O.J. Simpson trial, what Jordan Peele or whoever decided to put that part in the movie, and it's something that I even caught, but which is like you know something all the time, but then you catch it when it's put in your face. It's like society, especially in America, they look at every black man as OJ. That OJ trial in 1995, white racist America never got over that. And to them, every black man is OJ. That's why you have so many Karens out here. That is so many Karens out here, because that's that spirit of the white woman afraid of the OJ black man that's going to kill her and stab her, like they think O.J. Simpson did in 1995. So I noticed on the set when he said his name was OJ, all the Edomites stopped and froze, and they looked at him. And the main actress, Edomite, she even actually said, "Your name is OJ?" All right, so it's, you know, Jordan Peele was very brilliant how he put that in there. America, all these years later, the black man in general is still looked at as that OJ that got away with killing a white woman in 1995. That was brilliant how he put that into the narrative of the movie. Even though the movie is basically about the chariots and the return of Yahweh and the angels, but they more focused on the so-called UFOs or the chariots. That was the main focus of the plot of the movie. And when you go into the deep layers of it, it's letting you know that the chariots are coming back for Israel, for Jacob. I'm going to touch on that a little bit on this review, and I'm going to touch on that in the future too, because you got to go into the layers of that. All right. So one thing I noticed when OJ or Daniel Kaluuya, however you say the Hamite's name, his first sighting of the chariot or the so-called UFO, it was kind of like Ezekiel. All right, when Ezekiel got the vision. All right, and also Zechariah. When Zechariah looked up and said, "I see a flying roll," it was kind of like he described it almost like that. Almost like Jordan Peele was emulating what you read the scriptures to about Ezekiel and Zechariah's vision. That's when the Hamite got the first, the guy OJ, the Hamite that played the character OJ, that's when he got the first vision of the so-called UFO. So I noticed that was in the opening scenes also. Now fast forward, they go to this electronic store or whatever, because now, what's her name?
Kiki Palmer.
The one that plays his sister.
Kiki Palmer.
Yeah, Kiki Palmer. I think her name was A1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Her nickname was A1. She, you know, she's Eve. She's thinking about money. You know what I'm saying? And I think they kind of had her character like as a lesbian.
Yeah.
Kind of like they were insinuating some lesbianism with her.
She definitely
Because she said something about effing the psychiatrist, and she was a female. She said, but she. So I'm gonna get into that later. They kind of crowbarred the LGBT in there, right? And they had her character kind of like a lesbian. But I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. That's one of my later points. But when they go to this fast forward, it's many scenes in between. But fast forward, they go to this electronic store, right? It's called Fry's, but I guess it's like a Best Buy or whatever.
They closed it down. They just broke it back. It was
yeah.
They just closed out all these Fry's.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was Fry's, right? So
Fry's Electronics.
Right, electronics store. But the technician in the Fry's store, they start talking about how they saw these UFOs and they want to get them on camera. So they start talking about, see, all these movies is art imitating life. All right, a lot of these movies that's coming about the end of the world, they're taking it directly from the headlines. So they mention how the Navy surveillance picked up the UFO footage. Now that was recently, a year or two ago, that was in the news, right? Where they couldn't deny it anymore. They said we gotta stop lying to the public. And then what did they do? The Navy intelligence, they had a Senate committee hearing where they had to go to the government and say, listen, we cannot deny these UFOs anymore. We caught it on Navy surveillance video footage, and they put that in the movie because you can't deny it anymore, right? That's how the Most High going to bring forth this prophecy in the last days. You're not going to be able to deny it. Only way you're going to be able to deny it is if you don't believe. And the scriptures tell you that. It says, "For what if some did not believe?" All right, so they put that in there. How basically this whole UFO phenomenon, that might have been part of why Jordan Peele was inspired to make the movie, because it's in the media now, undeniable proof that the so-called UFOs exist. All right, so in one of the beginning scenes of the movie, also, you notice like with Enoch, when you read in Genesis, when you read Elijah in 2 Kings, they were taken up, all right? Like you read about Yahushua in the book of Acts, the 1st chapter, he was taken up. But now, in this movie, the way they spent it, the way Jordan Peele spent it, when you check out prophecy, Israel is going to be taken up on the chariots to be delivered out of America, bondage and captivity. But in this movie, a lot of people that were being taken up was Gentiles. They were Edomites and other nations. Remember when they had, just to fast forward, I don't want to jump the gun because that's a later point also. But they had like this rodeo celebration. And remember the Moabite was talking about how he saw flying saucers before and he had this big thing, and he said, you know, the flying saucers are going to appear at a certain time. I'm going to deal with that time he mentioned later. But notice the so-called UFO, it came earlier and it took all the people up. Now, if you look in that scene, if you look at everybody in the crowd, it was really no Jakes in there. Yeah. It was maybe like one Jake, right? But everybody that got taken up, they got tortured. Remember, it took them up and they were being tortured. Now that goes into the movie Fire in the Sky, the Travis Walton story, which that Edomite, he testified that he was taken up on a UFO, he was tortured for a week, and he was dropped back down, right? So when you check it out, not only are the so-called UFOs coming to deliver Israel, but what? Remember the scriptures say this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth in Zechariah. It's a curse to Esau and the other nations, because the chariots are coming to torture their house, right? And when you go into that movie, Fire in the Sky, and there's been other accounts of Edomites testifying that the so-called aliens abducted them and tortured them, all right, and dropped their ass back down on the earth. And the Most High could do that. You know what I'm saying? But I noticed Jordan Peele put that in this movie. A lot of times, the people that were taken up, they were non-Israel. They was Esau, Moab, other nations, mainly Esau, and they were being tortured when they was taken up on these chariots. All right, so the chariots are a curse to Esau and the other nations, but a blessing and a deliverance to Israel. Swing low, sweet chariot coming forth to carry me home. All right, so when you read Revelation 1 and 7, if you notice the UFO, so-called UFO, kept disguising itself in a cloud. All right, it kept disguising itself in a cloud, and whenever they described it a lot of times how we describe the chariots and the UFOs according to the scriptures. We say, oh, it was around the length of a city bus, you know, like Zechariah described it with the cubits and everything and the measurements. Even in the movie, they damn near sound like us when we teach it. They said, oh, it was around the size of 1 or 2 school buses, right? Like we say when we teach it, oh, it's around the size of a city bus or 2, the size of a city, 2 city buses or whatever the case may be. This was the size of the so-called chariot, so-called UFO, all right? So, All right, so now fast forward, they couldn't get, they kept trying to get the UFOs on video surveillance. They couldn't get a video shot of it. So they went back to the Edomite that they was trying to film the commercial with. In the beginning, they said if anybody could get the footage, you can get the footage. So when they called the Edomite on the phone, this Edomite was real dark. He had a real deep voice like Satan. And for some reason, this Edomite just had a dark countenance about him, but he was just a movie director. But I noticed something deep that they said. They told him, we want to get these UFO flying saucers on videos. He said, oh, you guys are in your dream again. He said, you know, just keep dreaming. You know, he was like, I'm not interested in getting it on camera for you. But he said something deep. The Edomite said, in your dream, he said, in your dream, you're on the mountaintop and everybody's praising you. All right, now what was the devil saying? He was letting the children of Israel know. Remember Martin Luther King, before he died? He said, I've been to the mountaintop. I've been to the promised land. I may not make it there with you, but we as a people going to make it. This Edomite said that to her. He said that to Kiki Palmer's character. And of course, Kiki Palmer's character is totally Judah. Even Daniel Kaluuya's, his character is Judah also, but he's a Hamite. All right, so they're playing a Judite brother and sister, or possibly Benjamin, because they said something about their grandfather was Bahamian. All right, I guess for the Bahamas or whatever. But either way, they were Israel, right? But I believe they was referring to their grandfather as being from the Bahamas. But anyway, he said, listen, you guys in this dream, you need to wake up from this dream or something like that. I got to see it again. But he said, in this dream, you're on the mountaintop and all eyes are on you praising you or something like that. All right, all the eyes are on you. In other words, who's going to be on that mountaintop? They tell you that in Zechariah, when Yahweh shall come back, he's going to stand on the two mountains and an innumerable multitude with him, so on and so. I'm paraphrasing. But who is going to be on that mountaintop? The children of Israel. Why is all eyes are going to be on us? Because we are the chosen people, and the Most High is coming back to deliver us. So the Edomite tried to say to them, oh, in your dream, but it tells you in Psalms 126 that, yes, when we're delivered from captivity, it is going to feel like a dream. What is a bad dream? A nightmare.
Nightmare.
All right, but he said, and he said, some about you need to wake up. I kind of skipped that part because I was trying to listen so closely, it got by me. Because I was like, what is that devil saying? And it kind of got by me. But he said something to the effect of, you people are standing on the mountaintop and all eyes are on you, or all eyes are praising you, or something like that, to that effect. I got you, Rob. So now, right, back to the scene where the Moabite is giving this rodeo show. I mean, this show with the horse or whatever. And he's telling them about the flying saucer and the time he saw it. He said on the day that he saw it, the time he saw it was at 6:13 p.m. Right? What is 6:13 symbolic to? The commandments of the Most High. There's 613 laws in the Torah. Some say it's 622, but most say it's 613. Why did he say he saw the flying saucer at 6:13 p.m.? Because what? You got to be keeping those commandments to make it on them chariots. Right? There's 613 laws. Everything is spiritual. You got to go into the layers of what they're saying in the movie. And you believe you me, if Jordan Peele started the movie off with the scripture about the destruction of Assyria, Nineveh, which can apply to America today also, the bloody city, believe you me, he understands there's 613 commandments. And the only way to get on them chariots is to keep them 613 commandments. I got a couple of more points, but I'm going to let you come in, Rob.
Also,
so I can look at these other points.
Also in the movie, you know, at the beginning, the debris came down, killed the father from the chariot. I think that was punishment from the Most High because he was selling the horses to the Chinese guy to feed to the chariot. Also, when they done a flashback where he was a child actor, it showed the monkey, the little chimpanzee killing everybody. That I think that can also represent that we're going to come into rulership and kill all the Edomites. You know, they just done it with the monkey.
I got something on that monkey too. Check this out. I'm gonna get 2 more points, then let you come in.
No, that's it. That's all.
All right, now, okay, we talked about how when they was taken up on a chariot, it was mainly heathens, and they were up there being tortured. You can refer to Israel. You can refer to a movie called Fire in the Sky, the Travis Walton story. All right, and other movies and books about UFOs. We'll quote some more sources in the future. Remember, this is just an impromptu review of the movie. Towards the end of the movie, also, they finally get the Edomite to agree to come to the ranch and try to help them get video footage and pictures of this so-called UFO. So the Edomite finally agrees to it, right? So he's talking to Daniel Kaluuya, and he's saying something like, describe them. And he said, they're dark, they're mean, and something else. The third, I got to get myself, because I was trying to listen so intensely. I was listening so hard, I was missing things. I don't know how that could happen, but Daniel Kaluuya says something to the point of, they're dark, they're mean, and something, right? Which, that was symbolic to describing the angels. You understand? Because if you're just talking about the chariot, what do you mean they're dark and they're mean? It's just the chariot you're describing.
Okay.
So when he was saying they're dark, they're mean. Right, yeah, you want to come by? Yeah. All right, they're dark, they're mean, so on and so forth. That's really symbolic to the angels, all right? So, towards the end also, now towards the end, right, as the movie's winding down, coming to the end, and the OJ character, he's trying to get the chariot to take him. He's trying to get him to take him. And what happens right before that scene, he's trying to get them to take him, you start hearing trumpets in the background. Now, throughout the movie, you really didn't hear any trumpets, right? But towards the end of the movie, which is symbolic to the end of days, and Israel being taken up, because it tells you the trumpet going to be blown. We're going to hear the sound of a mighty trumpet coming from the heavens before Yahweh shall return, and that's what you heard. Even a couple of years ago, right? Even in the news, they had video footage and surveillance of trumpet sounds in the background in the land of Israel, and they were saying they didn't know where these sounds was coming from. It was coming from the Most High and the angels, who's letting you know that before Yahweh shall's return, the trumpet going to be blown in heaven. I can tell you in Matthew 24 and Revelation. Now, they waited to the end of the movie to have these trumpet sounds right before, remember Daniel Kaluuya was doing, he was like trying to get in tune with the chariot, which they threw a monkey wrench in there and they turned the chariot into a monster. All right, but the whole time is basically referring to it as a so-called UFO. Even at one time, if you notice, they had the chariot looking like the cowboy hat. At one time, the chariot was looking like a cowboy hat, right? But they had to throw the spin. You know, Hollywood said, "Come on now, Jordan, you can't just give it all away." So eventually, the so-called UFO turned into it's some ancient monster that hides in the clouds. That ancient monster is the chariots, and you know what? That's symbolic too, because when you look at that deeper, if you say it's an ancient monster that hides in the clouds, here's a monster to you, Esau. That ancient monster that hides in the clouds is the chariots, because there's been chariot sightings from the beginning of time. The chariot's always been there. All right, so that's the ancient monster that hides in the clouds. Remember Revelation 1 and 7, behold, he cometh with clouds, meaning Yahweh Shah is coming on the chariots. And a lot of times that's what happens. The chariots appear and then they disappear into the clouds. All right, so that was another thing I saw in there. So we brought out that basically towards the end, yeah, I got 1 or 2 more points. Towards the end, you hear the trumpets being blown, which is symbolic to scripture. This movie was all scripture. That's why Jordan Peele started the movie with a scripture. So, last but not least, 2 more points. when you check it out, like we said, Keke Palmer, they kind of toyed with her being a lesbian, and they had to put it in there. You know what I'm saying? Had to put it in there. But if you notice at the end, the movie ends, and this is why y'all gotta watch it first. Spoiler alert. Basically, the underlying message to the end of the movie is a lesbian black woman and a giant image of a white man or a white child or white boy saves the earth from this chariot, because she sends up this giant balloon of a little white cowboy, and this giant balloon goes into the UFO or the monster and destroys it, and it explodes into a mushroom cloud. Then she makes a statement and says, "You can't fuck with A1." So, and then supposedly OJ is gone. All right, he supposedly got taken up, and that's symbolic also. The black man want to get the hell out of here. The black man want to get out of his kingdom. This is the white man of the black woman's kingdom, right? And those were the two that supposedly destroyed this UFO / mushroom cloud / monster, right? So basically, the subliminal message is the black woman, the lesbian black woman, and the white man saves the world. That's the underlying message, because remember, eventually the other Edomite director, whatever, he got taken up and tortured. He got taken up and tortured also, you know what I'm saying? So basically the ending scene is this Keke Palmer character and this big giant doll, this Edomite giant doll, is what destroys the chariot of the Most High. All right, which is total nonsense. But that was heavy how Jordan Peele had the chariot turn into a mushroom cloud. Because remember, when I had a running joke when the war started with Ukraine, I told everybody, don't hit me up with no stories unless it's talking about nukes and chariots. All right, and that's basically what Jordan Peele kind of ended the movie off with. He had the UFO eventually turn into a mushroom cloud. Then it was supposed to be the monster, and then it just poof. This white doll goes up into it and destroys it, with Keke Palmer launching this white doll. So the lesbian black woman and the white man saves the world. You understand? That's basically what it is from this big bad UFO monster. Because really, that's why even throughout the movie, there's so many other things we can go into. But this is a quick commentary. They had the little aliens in there. So they always mocking the angels by saying they're aliens. No, it's big, tall, mean, black, austere men on the chariots and UFOs coming back to whoop the hell out of you so-called white people in the other nations. And that was in the movie also. So I just noticed they had that the end. You know, Esau's always got to save his world at the end. So the end result was the lesbian black woman and the big giant doll. That's supposed to be symbolic to like Esau's this big bad hero. This big giant Edomite doll saves the day along with the lesbian black woman. All right, that's the underlying message at the end. And then as far as going back to the monkeys, they kept showing on that set where the monkey went crazy and beat up all these white people and killed them, right? And that's symbolic, because what happened, you have tortured the animals, you have put them in movies and cages, put them in, and yeah, the Most High gonna raise up the beasts of the earth against you, man. That's gonna happen. You had Ronald Reagan with bedtime with Bonzo. He's going to sleep reading stories to a monkey, going to bed with him. You had that other I think it was in Connecticut years ago. You had that woman. There was an Edomite woman that had she had a chimp as a pet, and the chimp went crazy. She used to sleep with the chimp, and the chimp went crazy and mauled her face. And we used to call her the white woman version of Emmett Till, because I think it was in Connecticut. It was years ago. It was about 16 years ago. And the chimp, she had a pet chimp that used to sleep with her in her bed, and the chimp went crazy on her and mauled her damn face up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going to happen to you devils in these last days. And I believe, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I believe that monkey too is symbolic to Jake. When the racehorse jump off, that's how Jake gonna be on these Edomites, man. No mercy. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the movie is definitely biblical. It's definitely scripture. It's definitely the chariots coming back to deliver Israel and torture and destroy Esau and the other nations, and us getting up out of here as a people. That's definitely the vehicles that's coming. The chariots is coming to deliver Israel. Like our ancestors used to sing, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. And that's how Israel is going to be delivered. And Jordan Peele, you know, he had to layer it. You know, he had to layer it. He can't be too blatant for Hollywood. But at the same time, the message is in there that the chariots is coming to get us as a people and destroy this earth, and it's going to be simultaneous with the nuclear bombs. That's why the chariot turned into a mushroom cloud. It eventually disintegrated, but he showed you the image of the chariot and the mushroom cloud represent the nuclear destruction and the so-called UFOs coming to deliver Israel. Go ahead, Rob, you got some points?
Oh yeah, the point, you probably covered it all about the final form was a mushroom cloud representing the nuclear bomb or whatever they're going to use to destroy this kingdom. Also,
and Salaki, it actually looked like a giant mushroom.
Yeah, it was a giant mushroom.
It looked like an actual giant mushroom. And then it kind of looked like the cloud when it disintegrated.
Yeah, and at the end, he didn't die. They actually showed him.
Yeah.
They showed him on the horse, so he didn't die.
He wanted to be taken up.
Yeah, he wanted to be taken out. Yeah, he wanted to go out of the blaze.
And if you notice, the chariot was always friendly with him.
Yeah.
Even the first scene when the chariot tried to take him up and then he fell.
Yeah, because he figured out not to look at it, so he figured it out.
Right, figured it out.
So it lets you know that Jake is going to be friendly with the chariots.
Yeah, it reminds me of Predator 2 with Danny Glover.
Danny Glover.
Remember, the Predators didn't do nothing to Danny Glover.
Yeah,
they actually gave him a weapon.
Right,
and they didn't do nothing to him. It's showing you Jake is friendly with the so-called UFOs.
Yeah,
whereas all the other heathens were being taken up and they were being tortured.
Yeah.
So it's but even though he's but he's playing a Jake part, OJ, he was friendly with the so-called UFOs.
Yeah.
God. Like, you know, I'm here for y'all, you know what I'm saying?
And I think the reason why that balloon, it was full of helium, and I think that helium does something to that alien system to make it pop like that.
Right,
That's the only thing I could guess.
Right, and also Esau, that's like, remember Independence Day? Mm-hmm. When a drunk flew up into the UFO and it's like Esau, their inward thought is that their house will continue forever. They actually think that some way, somehow, they still will have some kind of power with conventional technology to destroy the chariots of the Most High. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the helium does something to the monster or the alien or the chariot and makes it disintegrate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man.
It's like an ID for, like you said.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's
Jeff Goldblum had to give it a code to get around the barrier.
Independence Day, it's a drunk saved the world. Yeah. A lesbian black woman and a damn helium balloon of a white man saved the world. You know what I'm saying? So, but he was alive at the end.
Yeah.
They didn't take him at the end. You know what I'm saying? But if you notice, he was on a horse.
He was on a horse.
At the end, he was on a horse, and a horse represents power
rulership
and rulership.
So
it said even you know, I guess Jordan Peele, he had to, all right, America still be saved, but he also left it there like, the black man will end up on that horse, which represents power and rulership. And if you notice, it was like the smoke was clearing. So basically, he's saying like, when the smoke clear, Jake's still gonna be ruling.
It's like an Idris 69.
Jake gonna end up ruling when the smoke clear. So no matter what, you know, Jordan Peele, he put his layers in there. But it's like when the smoke clear, Israel's still gonna be ruling. By Shema Mashiach. So that's a quick impromptu commentary of the movie Nope. You know what I'm saying? Like one of my favorite lines when I'm teaching in camp, Jordan Peele, you've been watching. You've been watching, Jordan Peele. You've been watching, you know what I'm saying? And even the title of the movie, he was just saying nope a couple of times throughout the movie, but there's more to that. You've been watching, Jordan Peele. You've been watching. But anyway, that's a wrap it up. Anything else, Rob?
No, that's all we can think of.
Yeah, that's all we can think of for now. So all praise to Yahweh Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Hope y'all enjoyed this quick impromptu commentary like we always do. As soon as we come out the theater, we just get right into it from the stuff we can remember. Once again, Israel, comment, put in what you peeped in the movie. There's a lot of stuff we can go into. We'll be here all night. You know, we can dissect the movie scene by scene. But don't say, oh, Elder, you missed this. And what about just add on your commentary? All right. Oh, you ain't talk about this. You know what I'm saying? With attitude. No, it's just, if we talk about everything, we take a 2-hour movie, we can dissect it scene by scene and make a damn 5-hour commentary. Right? But this is just a quick movie review to what the Spirit show us right from us seeing it in the theater. Of course, we'll talk about it more. Once we watch it again, we'll pick up more points. It's stuff I'm still thinking of as I'm going on, but comment, put your input, what you caught out of the movie, Israel. Don't say nothing stupid like you paid your money to see that. It's just a damn movie. All right, don't say nothing stupid on a comment board, Israel. You know, but this is a latest HOI preview. You know, we had to break this one down. No, and we'll bring more in camps and sit downs. We'll expound more on the movie and stuff. We'll pick up stuff we'll remember later. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But once again, Hollywood knows the truth. They bringing it out. It's art imitating life. HOI to the chariots fly. The chariots are gonna fly. No matter how Hollywood spin it, it's still gonna have that true biblical ending, because that's how the Most High say it's gonna happen. All right. So nope. That's the review of Jordan Peele's Nope for 7/22/2022. Even though that's not the date, that was last Friday when it came out. But, you know, that's what it is, Israel. All praise to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. If you learn one thing from this review, if you get any edification, we've done our job. Priest Zabach.
Rob Judah.
Right, HOI to the chariots fly. All the camps of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Bring it out. HOI pull up, boys. Keep bringing this word forever and ever, right? HOI to the chariots fly by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. That's a review of the movie Nope. Check it out, Israel. Let us know what you think. Comment, leave your scriptures, whatever the case may be. All praises to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. The truth is coming out in these last days. By prophecy, entertainment, news, whatever, the Most High is bringing this truth out. So the whole world can see what the scriptures is talking about. All praise to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai forever and ever. Amen. Kwame Ashala, we still got next. Hallelujah. All praise to Yahweh B'Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Once again, Priest Zabach.
Rob Judah. And
HOI Los Angeles on the set. Kwame Ashala.
Kwame Ashala. Esau's the end of the world and Jacob's the beginning and follow him.
Khan. Second Ezra's, right?
Second Ezra's.
All praise to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And when the smoke clear, the black man is on that horse ruling. Like it tells you, Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants on the earth. But the roles are going to be reversed. The princes are going to get back on the horses and the servants are going to be walking on the earth. That's what Jordan Peele was saying at the end of that movie. Shalom.
Shalom.